Hey everybody, Antoni here. I just came home from watching Musica Aeterna, which is a great group of musicians and singers hailing all the way from Russia, specializing in the Baroque repertoire at the Berliner Philharmoniker. And singing alongside them is one of my most favorite sopranos, Anna Prohaska and Nuria Rial, who is a soprano I've heard about in passing, yet I've actually grown to love her voice. And alongside them are a few singers that I've never really heard of before until this evening. And as always for this review, I have my program here with me so that just in case I forget any names, screw up with pronunciation, or forget any minor details, I have this as my guide. Now, the conductor was Teodor Currentzis, who hails all the way from Greece. The concert started with Georg Friedrich Handel's Dixit Dominus, which I thought was a great opener. The chorus was absolutely fantastic. They were all in their game along with the orchestra. And I thought it was such a powerful opening. Not really a big, powerful opening, but I thought it really set the tone of how beautiful this opening really was. And then after that, we have the mezzo solo, Virgam Virtutis Tuae, sung by Swedish mezzo Maria Forsström, who specializes in a lot of the lyric mezzo roles. And here, I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. She was able to sing all of that coloratura really well, and her voice was very homogeneous all throughout the registers. And after her, we have the soprano solo, Tecum Principium, sung by Spanish soprano Nuria Rial, who I've basically seen in passing, or basically heard in passing on YouTube. But actually, I really love her voice. It's a very delicate, silvery, light lyric soprano voice that is able to handle all of the coloratura with finesse and grace. But my most favorite parts of the first part of this concert are the Dominus ad dextris tuis, which I felt was powerful, yet extremely gorgeous, thanks to such magnificent singing by the chorus, and of course such magnificent playing by the orchestra, and most obviously, great conducting by Mr. Currentzis. And another highlight is the De Torrente in Via, which is sung by two sopranos, namely Nadine Kucher, known here in the program as Nadezhda Kusha, and Elena Yurchenko. At least that's one of them, but all I know is that Nadezhda Kusha is the one who sang one of the sopranos, but yeah, I think the other one was Elena Yurchenko. And hearing them was basically like heaven. Their voices blended magnificently, and they were both able to sing those pianissimo notes very ethereally that my jaw was open. And then we have the finale, Gloria Patri, which I felt was just gorgeous. The conducting was absolutely amazing, as well as the singing by the chorus, and of course, the orchestra did their thing very well. So overall, the first part of this concert was absolutely great. It was a really great opener to such a great evening of singing and hearing such an awesome orchestra that mainly specializes in Baroque music. And then we move on to the second part of the concert, which is a staged or a concert version of Henry Purcell's Dido and Aeneas, which is his most famous opera. And I was absolutely amazed by such great singing. And this is an opera I haven't really encountered in the past, but there is one aria which I basically love from this opera, and that is none other than Dido's Lament. Thy hand, Belinda, when I am laid in earth. Now, when sung right by any soprano or, in some cases, mezzo, it can be quite tear-jerking. And that's pretty much part of any soprano's aria when they perform in concerts or various recitals. It's basically become a staple in their concert repertoire to have this aria, whether they be coloratura or lyric, spento, dramatic, what have you. Just like Carmen, I've seemed to notice that Dido pretty much attracts a lot of sopranos and mezzos to sing, but not necessarily contraltos, but mostly sopranos and mezzos. As I stated in my earlier video, I said that I was quite skeptical about Anna Prohaska's performance as Dido because, to be frank, when I think of a singer who sings the role of Purcell's Dido, I think of a lyric soprano like Victoria de los Angeles, who is, well, specifically a full lyric soprano, or a dramatic soprano like Jessie Norman, a Wagnerian soprano like Martha Moodle, a lyric mezzo like Janet Baker, or even a high dramatic mezzo like Olga Borodina. I pretty much expect any soprano that sings Dido to have a little bit more meat in their voice and a little bit more weight, since Dido can be quite a heavy sing. But hearing Anna Prohaska in the title role of Dido was just mesmerizing. It was absolutely gorgeous. Now, basically, I have seen her as Pamina in Magic Flute at the Staatsopernschule Theater. I thought she was great. Here, I thought she was absolutely mesmerizing in terms of her voice. Her stage presence was pretty good, to say the least. I mean, let's face it, Dido is quite young, and she's quite regal too, but mostly young because she's basically head over heels in love with Aeneas. And I feel that Miss Prohaska was able to capture that youthfulness that Dido has as a character. But more than anything, it's her voice that I really, really love. She was able to handle all of those meaty lines with such finesse and grace. Sure, her low notes could be a lot better, but her voice all throughout showed a lot of stamina and beauty, especially in the Lament. I thought it was sung gorgeously. I thought it was so stirring to hear Miss Prohaska sing this gorgeous aria. And when I heard her sing the first few lines, Thy hand, Belinda, I felt like I was almost about to cry, but when she sang When I Am Laid in Earth, I was almost crying, to be honest. That's how much of an emotional performance she gave as Dido, and I know I was quite skeptical of Miss Prohaska, but all of that is forgiven because what I've heard was an amazing voice, an amazing performance done by Miss Prohaska. Kudos to you. And if you're watching this, Anna, I really, really love your performance as Dido. And I really wish you all the best. I think you did a magnificent job, and frankly, I wish you well in your future. Her Aeneas was German baritone Tobias Berndt, who hails all the way from Berlin and is basically well known in a lot of the lyric baritone repertoire. I thought he was absolutely amazing. His voice was very homogeneous, he had no cracks, and his stage presence was also quite commanding as well. But it's his voice that is very commanding. For someone who's mostly specialized in the lyric baritone repertoire, I feel he has great potential to venture into the more dramatic baritone repertoire. But seeing that he's still young, that will take time, but as of now, I see a lot of great potential in Mr. Berndt, and I really wish him well in his career, and hopefully he'll still sing, and hopefully his voice will still be in great shape. And this is how his voice was during the evening. It was in great shape. And honestly, where can you go wrong with Mr. Berndt as Aeneas? He's absolutely that commanding, and his voice was equally as gorgeous. In the role of Belinda, Dido's handmaid, we have Nuria Rial. Once again, she still has her silvery, light lyric soprano voice, and she was able to handle all of that coloratura, which she sung with great finesse, and I thought that her performance as Belinda was also quite sympathetic as well. And she really nailed the character down. She was basically a humble handservant to Dido, but also a really great companion to her. So I feel that Miss Rial was absolutely great at what she did, and I thought she had the right voice for Belinda, excuse me. Even though at times Miss Rial sounded quite similar to Miss Prohaska in terms of timbre, since both of them specialize in the light lyric soprano roles and in some occasions the lyric coloratura soprano roles. But that's just me. But still, despite that, she does a really great job. And then we have The Sorceress, who is sung once again by Maria Forsström. Here I thought she was absolutely magnetic. Her glares, her snarls. I mean, sure, at times they can be over the top, but I thought she was quite commanding. Her stage presence was as commanding as her singing. Her singing, like I said, absolutely homogeneous, absolutely beautiful. It was flawless beyond belief. And her stage presence, commanding. A very commendable performance in the role of the sorceress, though at times it can be over the top. But overall, she was able to maintain a dignified persona, and, well, what more can you expect? She was absolutely amazing. And then we have the role of the Spirit, sung by Valeria Safonova. Even though her part was very small, I felt that she was able to use her wonderful light lyric soprano voice to such a great advantage. And her voice blended really well with Mr. Tobias Berndt. So a very commendable effort to her. And then we have the Sailor, who was sung by Viktor Shapovalov. Viktor Shapovalov. I thought he was really good vocally, though at times his diction seemed quite off. Well, what can you expect? He's not really a native English speaker. But despite that, I felt that he had such an exciting stage presence and such great gusto, singing such a very small role, but still, with a stage performance like that, I thought it was just great. Sure, like I said, his diction can be off, but that is beyond forgiven. I feel that his voice was absolutely in shape, and it was a round, rich instrument. And in the roles of the other witches, the woman, we have some of the soloists from the Musica Aeterna. They were all wonderful, well acted, and they sang really well. And even after this concert performance of Purcell's great opera, there was an encore number, basically to show a sign of gratitude to us, the audience. The first encore number was done by the chorus, which is a hymn. I think it's some sort of religious or spiritual hymn in which the chorus is like moving around stage, moving with their hands, moving with their heads, moving with their whole body. And I thought, wow, not only did they sing very well and in harmony, but they were all captivating in terms of stage presence. And then there was another encore number, which I could easily presume is a song by Purcell, but it is without a doubt so addicting. I mean, the melody is so great. It was quite sad, but it was so stirring. Every time I listen to the song, stuck in my head right now, I would always think of the lyrics, "Why do you suffer?" And I thought it is just wow. I mean, sure, this is basically something that basically touched my soul, and I definitely loved it. Overall, this concert was absolutely fabulous, thanks to great conducting by Mr. Currentzis and great singing by the Musica Aeterna chorus, great playing by the Musica Aeterna orchestra, and of course, surprisingly great singing by Anna Prohaska as Dido. But hey, I feel that Miss Prohaska is able to give such great vocal performances no matter what repertoire she chooses, but still, even though she chooses some of the heavy repertoire, I still feel that her voice is absolutely gorgeous. And I feel that she's basically a singer that I treasure with my heart. And someone I feel easily inspired watching because, well, let's face it, not only does she have a magnificent, lovely voice, but also a great command of language, a great stage presence, and a fun personality too. So overall, a great evening of singing, a great evening of conducting, and overall a great evening of music, Baroque music to be specific. And I applaud everyone involved. Heck, even the audience loved everyone, from the conductor to the chorus to the orchestra, even to the main soloists. Everyone had a huge round of applause from the audience. That is just showing how great these artists really are. So kudos to Maestro Currentzis, kudos to the Musica Aeterna Orchestra and Chorus, and kudos to Anna Prohaska, Nuria Rial, Tobias Bount, Maria Forsström, and every other singer of this evening. You were all amazing, and I wish you all of the best. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to tune into my next upload. I don't know when it will be, but just to give you a little update, I'm most likely going to see La Damnation de Faust on February 23, so I really hope the tickets will be still available, and especially since I'm a student, I hope that I'll still get a very cheap seat so that, well, I could really see the opera in full, and I really, really hope that it will be such a great evening at the Deutsche Oper, well, even though it's going to be a week from now. But still, I really hope for the best because it seems that it has a very promising cast of singers. But more into that when I get to the review and catch this opera. Until then, this is Antoni signing off and saying to all of you, a good night.